Hello, my name is Russell Myers, independent for U.S. President for 2024. I'm kind of free-handing this one. I've been hearing a lot of people, well, for quite some time, talking about tearing down the system and building a new one. Of course, a lot of these people are the same ones that are against voting. So the same people that don't have the energy or involvement to try and better the system, to vote or anything else to try and better the system we've got. They think that they're going to have the energy uh, or dedication to build a new system. And no, they're not. Absolutely not. The people that are saying this, try challenging. When they're talking about this, challenge them. Tell them, okay, you want to build a new system? You start. Okay? Um, if you ask them to detail exactly what kind of system that they would like to build in its place, they don't have anything workable or realistic. If they have anything at all, they just don't have anything. I am a believer in democracy. Our system is flawed, but it can be repaired. It's going to take a massive effort and a lot of involvement by all of us. And we cannot do this sitting on the sidelines, refusing to be involved. It just doesn't work that way. If you build a new system, it's going to take a lot of effort. And, handing more power over to the states. Let's take a look at this. There are a lot of states that are trying to dismantle the rights that we've already got. Look at abortion rights and just all kinds of rights, your voting rights. In Texas, Alabama, Georgia, look at these things and how they are handling human and civil rights already. Do you really want to hand them more power? They say that our federal government is corrupt. Yeah, I agree with that. We have a lot of corruption in our federal government. The problem with this is that the federal government is comprised of a number of smaller governments. If you start with corruption at the county, city level, and representatives to the state assembly that are corrupt. Take a look at this. Most local elected officials and appointed officials, they are lawyers and business people who continue to have their practice or their business while they are in office. And do you think that they're going to represent the workers, the general population, the retired, the disabled? Do you think that they're really concerned with any of that? So you want to give them more power. You work from corruption at the local level up to the state representative level, up to the state level. If you've got corruption at every level, then you're going to have corruption in your national, your federal level. That's going to happen. What you're really talking about doing is removing the oversight, which has been built up over many years to counteract much of that corruption. But we need more oversight and control over the federal level, such as, eliminating private donations for campaigns and lobbying. We need to get rid of that. You get rid of that, you get rid of the profit motive, you get rid of the corruption. That's not so hard to understand. getting rid of that at each individual, county, state, county, city, state level. There is no less corruption. Often there is more corruption at the local level and the state level than there is at the federal level. That's all there is to it. That's a fact of life. What a lot of these people are talking about, whether they admit it or not, is a revolution of some kind. And many of them claim, well, I'm not in favor of a violent revolution. When you start taking away people's rights, you're going to have a violent revolution at some point. And we're already, I'm not in favor of it. This is part of my campaign trying to avoid it. But JFK said, those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. So you take away enough of people's rights, and sooner or later, you're going to have a violent revolution on your hands. That's just the way it is. You try to change this system. Yeah, we need to make improvements to our system. We need to get money out of our government before we're really going to be able to control very much else. That's it, like it or not. And a lot of these people are really talking about isolationism. That doesn't do any good. How are you even going to manage that? Putting more power in the state systems also increases. It will increase the cost. Meanwhile, they're going to cut social spending state level. Okay, during the pandemic, look how many states ended the supplemental unemployment early and tried to force people back to work when this was not realistic. How many people never even got that unemployment? There's tens of millions of Americans that never got that supplemental unemployment or any unemployment at all. Do you think, look how many states refuse to take the Medicare expansion money. So they're denying medical care to their own citizens. You want to hand them more power to deny more care, more support to their own people. That's what this comes down to. Revolution. Let me bring up a few things about revolution. The people that are calling for an actual revolution right now, which would wind up being a violent revolution, it would, period. Let's look at a few past revolutions. The French Revolution, the Cuban Revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution, even the German Revolution that happened in 1918. Most of these actually had a very strong socialist leaning to them. They were trying to move from an oligarchic system into something that gave more power and more wealth into the hands of the citizenry. That's what they were trying to do. Now, a big thing about these past revolutions, look at the time and place in which they happened. Most of the people that were engaged in these revolutions were peasants, and they had poor education, and there was basically no media that was involved at the time. So they interacted with one another. The closest one to having, media, advertising, and so forth was Lenin, who was sent back to Russia by Germany, where he had been imprisoned so that he would actually cause a disruption in that system. And honestly, as a result, part of that came about that Russia almost ceased to exist as a result of it. But Russia definitely had their problems at the time. But he had money and he had backing when he first went back to Germany to be able to get attention. Anyway, but overall, they didn't have media. And what media they had might have been printed pamphlets and stuff like this. Today, Americans, if you want to compare this to today, Americans are ruled by advertising, by marketing. Who wins most of our elections? It's the people with the most money, with the most access to the media. That's why our system is so messed up. You know, if you try to form some revolution, you're not going to wind up with a whole bunch of people fighting on together all for the same thing. You've got different factions. You've got right and left, and you've got people that are Marxists. You've got people that are, far right extremists. Who would win? And anyway, the real answer is that whoever has the most money, the most weapons, and that is the most sociopathic, willing to commit the worst atrocities, that's who would win. That's who would decide the outcome of any revolution. Look at the outcome of past revolutions, and for better or worse, they wound up with authoritarian governments. Not an actual democracy. Our democracy is absolutely flawed, but do you really want to move toward that direction? There's things to say in favor of and against any of these things, but I mean, do you want Nazism? Do you want Leninism? Stalinism? Do you want Mussolini's Italy? Do you want Franco? What do you think is the logical outcome of this? You can't call for a revolution and expect to have a positive outcome. Whoever overthrows the existing government is going to have to impose authoritarianism to enforce that new system. Meanwhile, the existing system has got control over the military and the police. How many Americans would die as a result of this? This is foolish talk. This is sociopathic. It really is. We can change our system. People talk about laws. And the bias of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court interprets existing law, but they do not write the laws. Those laws can be changed. But we have to elect officials into office that are willing to change those laws in great numbers, starting at the local, up to the state, and up to the federal. We have to get the right people into office, ones that don't just give up and say, oh, well, the Supreme Court made their decision, or the Senate parliamentarian made a decision and we can't do anything. Wrong. We can do something. But we have to show our own determination. And that means rejecting the system that we've had and rebuild this system within the framework that we've got to do this. Now, throughout my policies, I have outlined many ways, many steps which will lead us in that direction. And I'm going to continue doing exactly that. If you want a better system, it's not about tearing everything down and starting over, because you don't know what you're going to be starting with. You don't know who is going to make these decisions for you, because chances are you're not the one that's going to be making those decisions. You start a violent revolution, you may not survive to see the end of it. Even if you see the end of it, are you going to be the one in power to state what form this new system is going to take? Chances are no. Someone else is going to be doing that, and that's going to be somebody that already has money, already has power, already has exposure, already has armed forces to take you down. Is that what you want? It's not what I want. I want to revise our system in a way that is beneficial to all of us. So join me on this. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. Think about these things. Think about them realistically. Stop watching some movies or reading some fantasy novels. That's not how we get there. So join me. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel, this campaign. I do need your help. If we want to change this system, okay, consider this your revolution, a nonviolent revolution. Okay? I'm fine with that. Let's do it. Thank you.